What's up guys, Box Clown 90 here, giving you a fight review for the British lightweight title fight between Gavin Rees and John Watson. Gavin Rees, former WBA light welterweight title holder, and then lost to Kotelnik. Ever since then, he went a bit quiet. He went to and won the prize fighter, light welterweights I believe, and then won 2 other fights, moved on to lightweight to fight for the Lonsdale belt, the British title, against an unbeaten John Watson, who had 13 fights and won all of them. Interesting fight this, I think a lot of people were saying that he was going to be the favourite, Rees, and for the first, it was a fight I thought was going to 2 halves really, and throughout this I'll give you a round by round structure and tell you how I think the fight personally went. Round 1, the first half of the first round, they're feeling each other out. Rees showed some good jabs and looked energetic, typical Gavin Rees, always popping in, looking energetic. And it was a good start, showed good right-left combos, and really jarred Watson's head a couple of times, really made his neck sort of, had to straighten up, made his neck look stiff. Yeah, it was a good start, round went to Rees. In the second round, Rees was again with the energetic spells, hard left hooks, hard right hooks, straight jabs, definitely showing the domination. Watson was a bit too cautious, I think, maybe worried because he hadn't fought 12 rounds before, maybe worried about going the distance. Another round to Rees. In the third round, you can clearly see Rees was outworking Watson. Now Watson had the height advantage of this, looks gangly compared to Rees. And Rees was out jabbing him. He was outworking with the jab, and there was one shot in the fight, a real hard right hook from Rees, which had, all the fans going ooh and things like that. So that was again Rees's round. Fourth round, Rees had a high work rate. He started going for the body as well as the head, showing the good left and right combos once again to the head and the body. Watson shows heart there, and he tries to trade blows back. It's the first time you see Watson really put up a fight, but overall Rees just looks too quick overall, and I think that really just does give the fight. But the show signs that Watson's really coming for the fight, but Rees just looked world class. Looked like he did when he was going for the WBA light welterweight championship. Looked like he was back to his world title class. Round 5, Rees starts to slow down a little bit, and Watson finally could trade blows. You can see it happening from the 4th round, to be honest with you. Watson starts backing up Rees. I think that was really starting to be the turning point. The heart Watson showed was unbelievable. He's starting to back up Rees with body shots, but Rees is throwing good right hooks at this point. Really good right hooks. I had that round even personally. I think that Rees was dominating the round, but the way Watson was showing heart and decent shots and trading, making it messy, I think it was equal. This is where, for me, the fight turned in the next 4 rounds. I thought round 6 was a close round. Rees still throwing the combos, but Watson was stern and trading blows very, very well, and he was hitting the body quite well as well. I think as a close round, I just thought Watson just nicked that just for sheer effort and work there around the ring, and I could see little snide shots getting in the body and things like that, which you may not be able to see, but that was just something that I witnessed, which gave Watson a round for me. 7th round, good stiff right at the beginning from Rees, but a shot then, I think it was a left jab or by Watson, busted Rees's nose open. From then, whether it was affecting his breathing, but it's heavy breathing through the mouth. Watson was showing good body shots, and he threw a good left cross. Round to Rees. Rees then was, one thing you notice about Rees, he was lunging quite a bit. He was lunging throughout the whole fight, and Watson was just picking him off. It was easy. Watson just picked him off, and whenever he lunged in, not using his head, Rees really, just sort of getting in, wanting to get involved, and Watson just punished him for that. Hard shots from Rees during that, but Watson makes it messy and throws his body shots hard, and you can see he's hurting Rees now quite a bit. I gave that round to Watson. Round 9, you can see Rees is really starting to struggle now. He looks lost in the ring. He and you know he looks like he's not trying the ring. He's not boxing. That was the problem. He's not boxing, and Watson looks for the body and most of those tags. Rees does get a good stiff left in, which shows that Rees has still got a bit of fight. And throughout these rounds, even though I'm saying Watson won the round, it still looks close. It is still a very, very close battle. Rees is still throwing the combos and still connecting. Just the shots that Watson showed, I just think were more volume and they just flowed more personally. Rees did show a stiff left in round 9, which, as I said, he was so showed that he was still there. I gave that round to Watson again, so I had it even by the end of round 9, me personally. I know that Samuel had it by 2, Rees up by 2, Rees up by 3, some had Rees up by 1. I personally have had it even. I thought it was an even fight, and I thought Watson was going to get it. But this is where Rees showed his true class. Round 10, boxing sense, started boxing again, keeping his distance. Watson slowed because he doesn't know, he's not lunging in anymore, he's showing smart boxing skills. I think that really helps, you know. Watson then slows down, and there was one, and then Rees just throwing the combos, throwing the stiff jabs, and an overhand right finally knocks down Watson. It was a shocking knockdown because for the some of that fight, it really did look like Watson was going to knock Rees down, but Rees came in for that round and really showed the true class. You know, 10-8 round to Rees, and Watson looked cagey after that, but to be fair, after he got knocked down, he banged his gloves together, Watson, so come on then, really into it. The 11th round, where it all stopped, in the 11th round, Rees hard combos, Watson looks leggy, looks tired, the knockdowns affected him massively, you could tell. Hard, straight right from Rees, unbelievably through the defence, and really rocked him again. It looked inevitable really, one last flow from Rees in the corner, referee stepped in and stopped it. Overall, this is probably one of the most entertaining fights I've seen of the year. If you can find it on YouTube, please go and find it, because it's a very entertaining fight, and me talking about it probably doesn't give it justice. Close fight. I think Rees was just winning on the scorecards at that minute. I think he would have gone to win the round, which means that Watson would have had to knock him out on my scorecard anyway. But 11th round stoppage for Rees. You know, I think Watson would be fine, you know, maybe look into a rematch. I don't think Rees would want to do that. You know, he's fought 30... that was his 32nd fight, I believe. I may be wrong, I don't know. But at lightweight, you know, there's 2 fighters in Britain, especially, that you want to look at lightweight. And that's the previous champion, John Murray, and also Kevin Mitchell. Now, Kevin Mitchell hasn't really been fighting recently. I think after his loss to Michael Katsidis, I think he was a bit shaken by that. So I don't think that fight's going to happen. I think Mitchell will return to the ring, but not so soon, to be honest with you. But so Rees could look at one of those two. I think that'd be a way forward, see if he can propel himself onto the world scene. That's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I gave you some enlightenment. Check out the fight if you can on YouTube. Please subscribe to Boxing Clown 90. First of all, leave your comments. Tell me what you thought about the fight. Subscribe to Boxing Clown 90 for previews, reviews, and debate. There's a few videos going up tonight, so yeah, stay tuned for that. Until next time, guys. Peace, love, and I'll catch you in a bit.